Hey guys, All in Crypto here, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for another YouTube video. In this video, we're going to be giving you an overall cryptocurrency market update, and how we're going to do that is by really focusing on Bitcoin. We're going to be touching on a bit of macroeconomics that is happening right now, and could be why we're seeing, a bit of a lulling for Bitcoin. But ultimately, if you've been following this channel, ladies and gentlemen, you already knew that we were going to pull back, because we essentially said that now you have broken out, and we have broken out of that descending resistance, you were going to hit this resistance level around about 41k that has been resistance not only recently during this kind of consolidation period, but has historically acted as resistance. If you look at the amount of times wicks and candle bodies kind of close on this level, it's a good indication that there is a little bit of a wall put up there, and that's exactly what's happened. We said after you do that, a likely return to your 20 EMA is going to take place. How did we know this? Well, we want to teach you some stuff on this channel when you're looking at charts, and it doesn't always have to happen like this, guys, but you can see historically, every time you kind of come out of a period of kind of selling off and you break through this EMA, it's always visited with a retest. We'll show you that very quickly on a number of times that it happens. You can see I like to teach you guys, because when I'm looking at something, how I can kind of call, and we've made some pretty successful calls on this channel, is because we watch these charts all the time, and what you notice is similarities, you notice trends that repeat themselves, and this is really one of those trends. Every time you really break out, usually you will come back and retest the EMA, certainly if you don't really break out of it with any sort of significant momentum. So we're still watching that 41k range, right about 41,300 we'd like to get above. We think once you're above that, you stand a good chance of continuously going up, and that would really signify a true breakout. Not that this isn't a true breakout, we do believe this is the breakout, and we think you're going to recover on the back of this. However, we don't think that you're going to recover in a kind of a straight up manner. We think you're going to have to work your way out of this and ultimately get back up to those all-time highs and then continue on in this bull run that I believe is going to see Bitcoin hit around about $160,000. Now, with Cardano, one thing I want to highlight, and the reason that I'm not making a separate Cardano video right now is because you are downtrending for Cardano. The trend is your friend, and you don't want to bet against that. There is some signs of bottoming. You can see you are now making higher lows, whereas you were previously making lower lows. You're also making somewhat marginal higher highs as well. However, this could just be a similar sort of outfit to what you saw here. One thing I really want to point out, and this is why we're not really going into depth in a Cardano update video, is because it's so tethered to Bitcoin. Bitcoin essentially allows all these runs to happen, because you can see that that previous one was, let's quickly take a look at the date. The start of that was the 4th of May. Bitcoin was going up by then. Bitcoin was still going up round about this period here, and that really allows, and what you'll do is you'll see a direct correlation. If we take this big kind of run up for Bitcoin, that was the 27th of January. Let's take a quick look at when Cardano did its kind of big run up before consolidating. That was around about the 31st of January. So Bitcoin had already started running. That allows the altcoins to kind of flourish and to kind of outperform. So we are still watching Cardano with closeness. We're still heavily in the project. However, we're watching Bitcoin with sort of we're paying more attention right now to Bitcoin, because ultimately we still believe that the entire market is just going to follow Bitcoin, and the macro kind of economics that's going on right now, guys, and I think people in the crypto space often like to think that they're immune from what's happening in the real world, but they're not. And ultimately the Fed are having a talk today where they're essentially going to discuss things like monetary policies. They're going to be going over kind of data that's coming in over the previous time period since they had last spoke. This essentially always leads markets to have a bit of uncertainty, sell off maybe marginally, or to just kind of loll around. Bitcoin enters wait and see phase ahead of a Fed statement. You can see it's not just Bitcoin that does this. There is still a correlation between the stock market, between commodities, and the crypto market, and it's really because they're all, when you're looking at a chart, what you're looking at is an asset in comparison with the US dollar. So how strong is that asset in comparison with the US dollar, or if you're looking at it with the Great British Pound or the Euro or whatever it is. So, for example, let's say the Fed came out tomorrow and they said, look, we're going to raise interest rates. I could quite safely bet, and I'm trying to, I'm sure a lot of you know this, but I'm trying to teach some of you new guys that are getting into the kind of financial world about this, that if, let's say, for example, the Fed's decided to raise interest rates, which I don't really think they're going to do because, they're in a bit of a tight situation in regards to that, that would be detrimental for the overall investment space, because what that would do, that would mean that, there is more of an incentive to hold dollars because you get a higher yield off them. Essentially, their value has been increased because the rate of borrowing, the rate that you can get given that money in terms of borrowing it, has gone up. So this is why when the Fed kind of talks, not that I'm saying for 1 second they're going to raise interest rates, but this is why understanding the macroeconomics will help you as a trader and help you looking for entry points. And we're not a trader on this channel, really. We're an investor, a macro investor, a value investor, really, that really goes off the fundamentals and then kind of adds all these pieces to the puzzle. You can see that gold subbed as market awaits. It's not just the US stock market as well, pullbacks from record levels ahead of Fed statement. It's everything. So depending on how this goes, depending on what kind of unfolds from this, is going to not only affect the crypto market, but everything. It's not going to largely affect it unless it's something detrimental like they're raising interest rates, which I don't think they're going to do here. I think that takes a lot more preparation than one of these kind of talks. The Bitcoin shorts that we've spoke around, we said there could be a potential short squeeze here, and we could be seeing that as we speak. We're seeing the first kind of rejection from the shorts taking place. This doesn't mean it's going to happen now, because you can see if we look at some previous data, this you can continually go up like this, and just the shorts can get layered on. But we do think that one thing that is historical every time you do this, and it really shows that you're running out of steam here in regards to the shorts, is that a period of the buyers taking over is coming. Now, lots of people said, wow, I mean, if these are all the shorts on the market, how is it not sold off? This is just on Bitfinex, guys. There are plenty of other, this is only counting the shorts that are placed on Bitfinex. There are loads of other platforms that you can short buy. We've not even gone into the fact on this channel, and it's something we will cover in more detail, the fact that most institutions will buy over the counter. One thing that I find extremely interesting, and it's sad in a way, is how markets actually work, how things like liquidity work, and how most institutions, when we hear about all these institutions buying, people get a little bit naffed off, which for those of you in the UK or that aren't in the UK, naffed off means annoyed with the fact that we hear all this about institutions buying and the price doesn't skyrocket. The reason is because they buy over the counter. So they'll go to someone like Coinbase and they'll say, look, we want to buy this much Bitcoin for a set price. They'll work that out and then they'll purchase it all at once. Whereas if they did that on the open market, if it was a large order, the price would go up as they were buying. So they wouldn't get filled at the desired price. The same if they were selling it. Usually they'll sell over the counter, or if they're trying to crash the market, we know a lot of people do to manipulate these markets and buying at a higher price, like we saw up here with the Wyckoff distribution. And we're watching the Wyckoff accumulation schematic very closely, and we said this could be your bottoming point that you come out of and we recover. Let me just say this, guys, and I'm not saying this to mislead you. I'm not saying this to pump up my Bitcoin bags, which I wish I had enough Bitcoin to be able to do that. I genuinely believe we're still in a bull market and things are going to be fine. Bitcoin's going to reach $160,000 as a minimum by the end of this cycle, which could be by the end of the year, could be sooner, could be a little bit later. And you are going to recover from this. I think there are a lot of people that are really worried right now, and that's why I'm making these daily videos, because there are a lot of people that are really worried right now that we're going to do a similar thing to what we saw here, and they're going to be left having bought Bitcoin at 63,000, holding the bag, and we're going to go back into a multi-year bear market that's going to be really painful for everyone. I'm not seeing the signs of that. This doesn't look like that is what you will typically see with a blow-off top. This is not a blow-off top. It's too mellow, if you will, to be that kind of blow-off top euphoria that we saw back in 2017 and for some of the alts, 2018, early 2018. So that is really all I wanted to say to you. I think the markets could be largely linked to the fact, and the news today, I always go over the news every morning, and I check the news really 3 or 4 times a day, which is how exciting my life has become. And essentially, quite a lot of negativity going on in the news. which I think the media really just play on this. Every time the market or something like Bitcoin goes down by 1%, you just get hit with a flood of bad news, and we're seeing a lot of backlash. I think one of the UK, a lot of the hedge funds in the UK were saying they wouldn't invest in Bitcoin and meme stocks, like they're even comparable. Something like Dogecoin and meme stocks, yes, but something like Bitcoin is not a meme stock. This is, if you still haven't come to terms with what's going on here and the actual sheer scale of what Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies are trying to achieve, you've got a lot of learning to do, guys, and hopefully this market will humble you to that. That's really all I'm going to say on the matter. So yes, we are having a bit of a sell-off. We did say, and get subscribed to this channel if you're not, guys, because we're updating you on a daily basis, and we did say you're very likely to come back down to this EMA once you've rejected off this. Those of you who watch the channel and have watched the last couple of Bitcoin update videos, you will know that this is normal, this is healthy, and this is just part of how markets work. And if we go back to March 2020, when we had the kind of sell-off as a result of what, I'm not going to say it on this channel. You can see once you broke out, you came back and you tested it, and then you work your way out because you've got a number of levels that has previously acted as resistance. You don't just, this idea that you're just going to spring straight back up, that's not how it works. You need to allow for reaccumulation, you need to allow for the buying pressure to build up, and scarcity, liquidity to kind of work in your favor. And that's really what will lead to a recovery. And once you get back to your prior all-time highs, it's go time from there, ladies and gentlemen. That's how this is going to work. That's how I believe this is going to work anyway. Let me just point out the fact that I could be wrong. We don't get everything right on this channel. We did say we had bottomed here, and we stuck to that conviction, even though we got dangerously close on a number of occasions, and people were saying we're wrong. We're still there. We don't think in a bull market you're going to sell off much more than what we already previously have. That would be... People were saying that the kind of magnitude of the sell-off that we had anyway, 55% was unorthodox. But I actually think it's quite normal if you take into effect that this is an emerging market. We've looked at Amazon and a number of other .com stocks and the kind of price movements they made in the early days, how volatile they were after they'd had that kind of boom, the .com boom, and then everything after that. They were still very volatile. And ultimately, this is the crypto space. You have so much more leverage than you would ever have had in the .com boom or in 2017. So we've normalized this sell-off really, and we just think this is in some ways a healthy pullback, and you've completed your ABC correction. And you're going to make your way out from here, guys, and we're sticking to that. So this was just a real update. We're not going to bring out a Cardano video today, just because it is, and hopefully I've shown you that, so tethered to Bitcoin. Cardano right now should be above $5, just based on what it's trying to achieve and the kind of future that it has. And even at $5, I think Cardano is undervalued. I think Bitcoin right now is undervalued. I think if you look at the real scarcity of Bitcoin, and what it can bring actual freedom in more ways than none. I want to just touch on a point here. I don't know how many of you out there have tried to ever withdraw a large sum of money from a bank account. It doesn't even have to be that large. It can be $5,000, $10,000, or in my case, GDP. Then it's not an easy thing to do from your bank. You need to come up with a reason. You need to have a good reason at that. And that's your money that you're trying to withdraw, yet they'll try and put obstacles in your way. And that's just how it is at the moment, but something like Bitcoin nullifies that. Yes, there are... We're getting way off topic, guys. I could rant on here to you all day. It's not ranting, it's more a blabbering on, I guess. But yeah, we think everything's fine. Ultimately, you knew this was coming if you were a sub to the channel, because we spoke to you about it. And we said, look, that you're likely, and hopefully I've shown you that, and you maybe learned something. This is how breakouts work. You come back and you retest. Look at support and resistance flip traders. They'll always work like that and actually place trades accordingly. They'll place a buy order on the resistance that has now become support, ready for continuation. So this is how markets work. Ultimately, you are tied into the whole macroeconomic side of things, which is essentially, the Fed are about to come out with something. You are going to move away from this as time goes on. But I just thought this was important to show you, because hopefully it's even the dollar. It says the dollar slips from 1 month high ahead of Fed statement by investing.com. So I'm trying to kind of show you that, you know, you want to broaden your horizons in the crypto space. We're so focused on crypto, and because we're so in awe of what it's doing and how revolutionary it is, etc., and, you know, the use cases it has. But you also need to take into account the whole macroeconomics of things, guys, because that will help you as an investor. That will help you learning about the financial world. And finance sounds really boring, but it is one of the most interesting things I've ever looked into, and I've looked into a lot of different things, guys. It's a whole world within a world, and really it has a direct impact on your life, whether you want to accept that or not. So that is all I have for you in this video, guys. We're still on track. We still think Bitcoin is going to recover. We don't think, even if you slip below this, you can see that can be quite a typical trait, guys. You know, you are going to continue upwards, in my opinion. Let's take a quick look at some smaller time frames before I leave you to it. Sorry, we've not brought out more videos today, guys. I'm just very busy. You know, you can see you are downtrending on the smaller time frames somewhat. We're not going to go any smaller than 5 minutes, otherwise we're all going to lose our minds. That's all I have for you in this video, guys. I'm going to love and leave you on that note, and hopefully I will see you all in the next YouTube video. If you enjoyed the content, a like is always appreciated. So is a comment, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks a lot for watching, ladies and gentlemen.